No one could solve the Oak Island mystery that has existed for centuries until now. After some of the world's top explorers, archaeologists, and scientists have failed to come out of Oak Island unscathed or alive, the Legina brothers have just done the unachievable. Along with their experienced team of treasure hunters, the Legina brothers found gold under the island's waters and wood that has existed since ancient times. How did they manage to survive the island's unforgiving weather and inhabitable environment? Join us as we reveal the struggles they faced and all the shocking discoveries they made on Oak Island, the start of the Legina brothers' interest in Oak Island. When the mission to reveal the secrets of Oak Island first kicked off over 2 centuries ago, people mainly wondered what was inside the strange holes on the island. Many suspected that a treasure was kept in those holes, and there were theories ranging from pirate gold to ancient artifacts. Even with the efforts of many treasure hunters and historians over the years, no one had fully cracked the case until recently, when the Legina brothers, who lead one of the most well-known digging teams, finally wrapped up their search with success. Before they discovered the island's main treasure, why and how did Oak Island even stay a mystery for so long? It all started when the island was first discovered. Oak Island is a small piece of land off the coast of Nova Scotia, Canada, and the story of its weirdness began back in 1795. A young man named Daniel McGuinness stumbled upon a peculiar dip in the ground, which led him and 2 of his friends to start digging. To their surprise, they saw layers of logs every 10 feet, making them think they were onto something historical. As time went on, more people joined the hunt, and they found that one particular hole, later called the Money Pit, was the most unsettling spot on the island. This hole contained wooden platforms, clay, charcoal, and even coconut fibers, which were unusual for the area. There are a lot of ideas about what might be hidden on Oak Island. Some people think it could be pirate treasure, possibly buried by the famous pirate Captain Kidd. Others have a different take, believing it might be the lost riches of the Knights Templar, a secret group from the Middle Ages. There are even suggestions that it could be important writings from William Shakespeare or other well-known historical papers. With so many different theories trending, searching for treasure on Oak Island has turned out to be really tough because explorers aren't sure what they're actually hunting for. To make things even trickier, the Money Pit on the island fills up with water, which makes it hard to dig deeper than the surface. Over the years, many people have tried to pump the water out or find ways to stop it from flooding, but those efforts usually don't work out. Plus, the island has a very complicated system of tunnels and shafts that can be quite dangerous, leading to some explorers losing their lives while trying to reveal its secrets. After a long time of hitting dead ends and not finding anything, people started to lose interest in the treasure of Oak Island. However, in the last few years, the search has picked up again, mainly because of the Legina brothers, Rick and Marty. They first learned about the island when they were kids after reading an article in a magazine, and it sparked their curiosity. In 2006, they decided to dive into the adventure themselves and put money into the search. They brought in new technology and gathered a team of dedicated people to help them explore the island. Their journey is shown in the TV series The Curse of Oak Island, which has gained a lot of fans. Many viewers are curious about how the show is funded and why the Legina brothers seem to have so much money, especially since they can't sell any of the treasures they find on the island. To understand this better, you should know that the show airs on the History Channel, which takes care of paying the cast. This means that the network is responsible for covering their salaries, allowing the Legina brothers to focus on their treasure hunt without worrying about finances. The combination of their childhood interest in archaeology, the use of modern technology, and the support from the TV network has helped keep the search for Oak Island's treasure alive and interesting for many people. The show not only entertains, but also keeps the mystery of the island alive. That's not all. The Legina brothers and their crew have a contract that's based on seasons, which means they don't have to be in every episode. They get paid a good amount of money for each season they work on, following the usual setup for reality TV. On top of that, they also make money through product placements, which adds to their total earnings. This way of funding is pretty standard in reality shows and documentaries, so it's nothing unusual. But there's more to it. It's well known that the cast members help pay for the exploration activities, with Marty Legina and Craig Tester being the main financial backers. A lot of fans think Rick Legina has always been rich, but actually he only became wealthy after the show became popular. Before that, he worked at a post office. Marty was the one who had the money to start with. Craig Tester also helps fund the team's projects and is seen as another wealthy member, but all of them have gained a lot of wealth thanks to being on TV. Even Peter, who is Rick and Marty's nephew, has stepped into a producer role on the show and is making a nice salary. In this reality TV world, the Legina brothers and their team have a seasonal contract, which means they don't have to show up for every episode. They earn a good paycheck for each season they're part of, sticking to the usual pay structure for reality shows. They also benefit from product placements, which boosts their income even more. This kind of funding is pretty typical in the realm of reality TV and documentary series, so it's not surprising. It's also common knowledge that the cast members pitch in to fund their exploration work, with Marty Legina and Craig Tester being the main financial supporters. Many fans believe that Rick Legina has always been wealthy, but the reality is that he only became rich after the show took off. He used to work as a post office employee. Marty was the one with the financial resources from the start. Craig Tester also contributes to the funding of the team's projects and is seen as another wealthy individual, but all of them have built their wealth largely due to their appearances on television. Even Peter, who is the nephew of Rick and Marty, has taken on a producer role in the show and is earning a solid salary. If you enjoy watching The Curse of Oak Island, you probably know about another way the Legina brothers make money for the show, through their Oak Island Tours business. This company provides guided tours, runs a museum, and lets visitors check out all the key spots shown in the series. It all started off pretty small, with Charles Barkhouse giving the tours, but it has grown quite a bit since then, and there are plenty of people eager to join in. On top of that, outside investors are also helping fund the project, thanks to connections from the cast, support from the History Channel, and investments from the local area. Even Nova Scotia Business Inc. got involved, putting in $2 million to help speed up the search, which shows that they likely have enough money to keep things going strong. The show, the Legina brothers discovered old items like a Roman sword, a vintage coin, and pieces of pottery. They've also spotted strange symbols and markings on the rocks. These discoveries prove that people have been on this mysterious and dangerous island for a long time, leaving hints about where the treasure might be. The finds have revived some old ideas, like the coconut fibers that hint at visitors from far away, since coconut trees don't grow in Canada. The Roman sword points to even older links, possibly to ancient cultures. Each new discovery brings them closer to the biggest find, yet while keeping the island's mystery alive. The legend surrounding the island also talks about a curse that says 7 people must die before the treasure is found, and so far 6 people have died in various accidents over the years. Who knows who could be next? Recently, while exploring the island, the Legina brothers and their crew were busy with their usual hunt for historical treasures when they unexpectedly found a clue that could help unravel the island's mystery. To their surprise, they discovered traces of gold in the water surrounding the island, something no one had expected. This exciting find filled them with renewed hope and determination to dig deeper into the island's secrets, giving the whole team a fresh wave of energy and enthusiasm. They used advanced scientific techniques to analyze the water, collecting samples from various locations, including the famous Money Pit and other known shafts. When the results came back, they were overjoyed to see evidence of gold, which means that there might be valuable treasures buried deep within the island, possibly in the money pit or in other hidden areas. Motivated by this exciting discovery, the team decided to ramp up their search efforts. They brought in more advanced tools and expanded the areas they were exploring. They also started drilling deeper than ever before, aiming to find the source of the gold traces. They also revisited some of the older shafts and tunnels, thinking that the gold might be hidden in spots they had previously missed. As the team continued to dig, they stumbled upon even more interesting finds that surpassed their earlier discoveries. They found different artifacts, including ancient coins, bits of wood, and metal items that made them believe there had been people living on the island many years ago. These discoveries hinted that individuals might have been on the island long before the current explorers, possibly hiding or protecting something of great worth. The traces of gold they found sparked a lot of different ideas among the team about what kind of treasure might be buried there. Some thought the gold could belong to pirates who stashed it away to keep it safe from their foes. Others speculated that it might be linked to the Knights Templar or other secretive groups that could have concealed their wealth on the island. These exciting theories kept the team's spirits high and their interest alive. With each new find, the excitement among the team grew as they realized they were finding more than just old items. Finding the coins and other remnants made them think that there could have been people who once lived there, perhaps hiding something important. Some team members imagined that the gold could be part of a hidden stash from pirates, while others thought it might be linked to mysterious groups like the Knights Templar, who were known for hiding their treasures. The search for treasure on the island was filled with excitement, but it also came with its fair share of challenges. Digging into the ground was risky and tricky because the tunnels and shafts could easily flood, and the ground itself was unstable. The team had to be very careful and prepared to prevent any accidents or delays. But the thought of finding gold kept their spirits high, pushing them to keep going despite the tough conditions. To deal with these issues, they relied on advanced technology. They used tools like ground-penetrating radar and sonar to get a better understanding of what was beneath the surface. This tech helped them spot areas that might hold gold. They also brought in water pumps and other machines to handle the flooding and make the digging process smoother. As the Legina brothers and their crew continued to make their way to Oak Island, they stumbled upon more ancient items. One of the coolest discoveries was a handmade ladder, which gave them hints about the lives of those who once lived on or visited the island. It made people wonder what the ladder was used for, maybe climbing trees or reaching rooftops. The ladder was crafted from wood and showed that it was made with care. The rungs were spaced out nicely and the joints were strong, indicating that it was built by someone who knew what they were doing. This ladder was proof that people had spent a lot of time on the island, possibly working on complicated tasks like digging the money pit or constructing underground tunnels. The sight of the ladder brought up a lot of questions. Who created it? When was it made? Why was it left there? The team thought that it might have been used during the original building of the money pit or other shafts, possibly abandoned by workers who were part of a bigger group. The quality of the craftsmanship hinted that the builders were organized and had a specific goal in mind. More artifacts found on the island. Apart from the ladder, the team saw many other artifacts. They found old coins, pieces of pottery, tools, and bits of wood that looked like they were part of buildings. Each item they discovered helped piece together the mystery of Oak Island's past. For instance, the old coins gave clues about the time periods when people were on the island, while the pottery shards showed that these individuals had regular lives and routines. Each artifact added a little more to the story of who had been there and what they were doing, making the search for answers even more exciting. The coins discovered by the team came from various times and locations, hinting that Oak Island attracted visitors from all over the globe. Some of these coins were quite old, dating back to the 17th or 18th century, which might connect them to the era when pirates roamed the seas. The pottery shards, also found on the island, had their attention. They included fragments of bowls, plates, and other everyday containers, suggesting that people might have lived there for a long time, rather than just stopping by briefly. This implies that they could have cooked meals, stored food, and engaged in daily life activities, pointing to a more established community on the island. The team also came across different tools like hammers, chisels, and picks, which showed clear signs of heavy use. This showed that these tools were likely employed in building or digging projects. Their presence supported the notion that the island's residents were involved in difficult tasks, such as creating deep holes or constructing underground tunnels. Pieces of wood found on the island also seemed to be parts of larger structures, including beams and planks that might have been used in buildings or as supports for tunnels. These wooden remnants showed that considerable construction efforts took place on Oak Island, using materials and methods that required a good deal of skill and planning. The artifacts led to different theories among the team and researchers. Some said that the handmade ladder and other items could be tied to the Knights Templar, known for their secretive work and hidden constructions. Others believed these findings might relate to pirate activities, with the island as a safe haven for stashing stolen treasures. The finding of old artifacts on Oak Island helped people learn more about its past. It showed that the island wasn't just a random place, it had a special role for those who came there. The items they found shared tales of effort, careful planning, and maybe even some secrets, clearly showing that something valuable was hidden away. Every time a new artifact was found, it boosted the team's motivation to keep looking, as they felt proud of the luck and progress they had achieved so far. The handmade ladder and other discoveries weren't just old things. They were hints leading to a bigger mystery. The Legina brothers believed they were getting closer to figuring out who had visited the island and what they were up to. They were definitely on the right track, and even they were surprised by what they were about to find next. Using high-tech tools like sonar and underwater cameras, they found a mysterious dark tunnel beneath the island. These gadgets helped them see through the cloudy water and create a map of the tunnel's layout. When they first looked at the images, they were blown away and filled with excitement. The tunnel was quite large and stretched deep into the island, hinting that it might lead to secret rooms or treasure vaults. The fact that this tunnel exists shows that whoever built it had some serious engineering skills and a clear purpose in mind. This find added weight to the idea that Oak Island might have treasures that are even more mind-blowing than anyone had imagined. It seemed like the tunnel was built to keep the treasure safe, making it tough for anyone to discover or reach it. However, exploring this underwater tunnel was no walk in the park. The island's rough landscape and unpredictable weather made the job very difficult. The team had to stay cautious and well-equipped, using diving gear and safety protocols to explore the tunnel safely. Next, the team found wooden beams and supports, which showed that the tunnel was intentionally built. They also found metal items and tools that might have been used during its construction. The team had a lot on their minds at this point. Some members were really convinced that the tunnel was linked to hidden pirate treasure, maybe even leading to a secret stash where all the riches were kept. Others speculated that the Knights Templar might have built the tunnel, as they were known for their impressive and private building projects. However, exploring the tunnel came with serious risks. The underwater conditions were tricky, with poor visibility and the danger of the structure collapsing. To go through the tunnel safely, the team needed special gear and techniques. They also had to contend with the island's unpredictable weather, which could change in an instant and make diving risky. This might explain the tragic losses that happened in the tunnel many years ago. Even with these issues, the Legina brothers and their team remained focused on their quest for the truth. Every new find, including the underwater tunnel, only strengthened their resolve. They felt they were getting closer to revealing the island's mysteries and possibly discovering the long-lost treasure. The next step was to take a closer look at everything they had discovered so far, and you might want to hear this. The Legina brothers and their crew have put a lot of trust in scientific methods to help them in their quest for the treasure believed to be hidden on Oak Island. These scientific approaches have given them solid proof that backs up their ideas about the island's secret riches. By examining different samples and artifacts discovered on the island, the team has learned a lot about Oak Island's past and the people who may have visited or lived there. One key method they used was looking at wood samples. They found pieces of wood scattered across the island, especially in places like the Money Pit and other digging sites. These wood samples were analyzed in labs to figure out how old they were and what they were made of. Using techniques like carbon dating, scientists could pinpoint when the wood was cut and used, which helped them piece together a timeline of what happened on the island. One of the most interesting findings from studying the wood samples was the discovery of tiny bits of gold. The team noticed that some of the wood contained small particles of gold, hinting that gold might have been on the island at some point. This led them to believe that the wood could have been in contact with gold during the original building of the tunnels and pits. This evidence really strengthened the theory that there could be hidden treasures waiting to be found on Oak Island. The scientific study of artifacts has really helped the team understand the history of Oak Island. Every item they found and examined gave them more insight into the past and the people who came to the island. Among the discoveries were several ancient coins that came from different times and places, showing that people from all over the world had visited Oak Island. Apart from the coins, the team also found some interesting carved stones on the island. These stones had unusual designs and symbols, hinting that they held special meaning for the people who made them. Some of the markings looked similar to those used by the Knights Templar, which made the idea that the island could be linked to this mysterious group even more believable. It's possible that these stones were markers or signs, pointing the way to hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. There's more. Proof of building and digging on the island. The team found more than just coins and stones. They also found some tools and metal items. Among these were larger hammers, chisels, and nails, all of which showed they had been used before. This means that a lot of building and digging happened on the island. However, the team is uncertain whether these tools were used by explorers in the last 200 years or by the island's ancient residents. They also looked closely at the metal items to figure out what they were made of and where they came from, which could help identify who might have used them and how they relate to the island's mysteries. To do this, the team employed advanced technology for their research. They used methods like X-ray fluorescence to analyze the metal's makeup and ground-penetrating radar to map what's underground without excessive digging. The scientific findings from their various tests strongly backed up the team's ideas about the hidden treasures of Oak Island. The traces of gold found in wood, the old coins, the carved stones, and the tools all proved that valuable items were buried there. This evidence strengthened the belief that Oak Island was a treasure hideout, possibly for pirates, the Knights Templar, or other groups. Even with the strong evidence, the Legina brothers kept digging deeper into the island. The rough landscape and unpredictable weather created problems for the team, but the scientific discoveries gave them the motivation and reassurance they needed. The Legina brothers and their crew were still determined, confident that they were definitely on the right path. To find more secrets of Oak Island, the Legina brothers teamed up with a group of experts from different areas like historians, archaeologists, and metallurgists. The historians were very involved by digging into the past to help the team understand the items and buildings discovered on the island. They looked through old documents, maps, and records to find connections between Oak Island and important historical events or people. This research was crucial for creating a timeline of what happened on the island and figuring out which groups might have come to or used the island over the years. On the other hand, the archaeologists were needed in carefully digging up the sites. They made sure that any artifacts found were taken out of the ground without getting damaged and helped explain what these items meant. Metallurgists took a close look at the metal items and artifacts found on Oak Island. They figured out what kinds of metals were used, where they came from, and how old they were. This information gave the team a better idea of the skills and technology that the people who created and used these items had. The discovery of certain metals, especially gold, added weight to the idea that there might be hidden treasure on the island. This leads us to another important find made by the Legina brothers, the flood tunnels at Smith's Cove. These tunnels were part of a clever engineering plan meant to either protect or reveal the island's secrets. They discovered that these flood tunnels were linked to the money pit, which made it really tough to dig without flooding the whole area. How complicated this system was showed that the builders had a lot of knowledge and resources. While digging at Smith's Cove, the team saw a network of channels and drains made from stones and wood, all built to manage water flow. These tunnels were cleverly designed to flood the money pit if anyone tried to dig too deep, keeping whatever was hidden safe. The stones and rocks with strange markings and carvings that the team found are also still a mystery. Many experts and researchers have come up with different ideas about what the inscriptions mean. Some think they might be linked to the Knights Templar, who were known for using secret codes and symbols. Others believe these markings could be directions or hints left by pirates or other groups. Even after numerous attempts to figure them out, the true meanings of these inscriptions is still unknown. In the early 1900s, treasure hunters built a cofferdam at Smith's Cove to dig deeper into the area. A cofferdam is a temporary barrier that keeps water out of a specific spot, making it easier to excavate. This construction revealed some interesting wooden structures that added to the mystery of the site. While the Legina brothers and their crew were busy trying to figure out the symbols on the stove, some researchers had exciting news that would blow their minds. They discovered not just one or two, but a bunch of important historical documents. These included old maps, journals, and letters that shed light on past adventures and how people have come to understand Oak Island over time. Among these finds was a really old map of Oak Island, which was several centuries old. This map showed the island's layout with different markings and notes. On the map, there were places they had already explored, like the Money Pit and Smith's Cove, and had mysterious notes that hinted at where treasure could be buried. It didn't end there. They also came across journals and letters from earlier explorers and treasure seekers. These writings shared the struggles and discoveries of those who had searched before them. The journals gave a personal look at the tough times they faced, like dealing with flooded tunnels and collapsing shafts. The letters often included ideas and guesses about the island's mysteries, providing a glimpse into the minds of those earlier treasure hunters. All these discoveries, including traces of gold in wood samples and various ancient items, led them to a moment that would change everything. Finally, the Legina brothers and their team struck gold. The moment they found the treasure made history, and their success was celebrated as a major achievement in the treasure hunting world. What do you think the Legina brothers will find next after finding so much on Oak Island already? We would love to know in the comments. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to leave a like, share it with your family and friends, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next updates. Also, click the next video on your screen to enjoy more exciting content.